welcome to the Galactic Collaboration Summit. I am so excited to be part of this event. And though we are virtual, we are together. So thank you for being here and thank you for having me. In the spirit of space, I thought I would bring my Microsoft Teams light, my neon sign with me, show my love for Microsoft Teams and have a little ambiance here in my home office. So I'm going to set that off to the side while we talk today. I'm also wearing my European Collaboration Summit t-shirt from last year in honor of being in Wiesbaden. So hopefully we can see each other in person in the fall. That would be absolutely fantastic. Until then, we're going to go ahead and do a virtual presentation, and I'm really excited to talk to you about how Microsoft Teams has really improved my life at work and at home and brought me closer to my communities. So a little bit about me before we get started. My name is Laurie Pottmeyer, and I am the Microsoft Teams Community Lead with Microsoft Teams Engineering at Microsoft. I actually work virtual normally, and I have worked from home for about half of the 15 years that I've been at Microsoft. So this is no new thing for me, but I am getting a little tired of working from home, as I imagine that most of you are. I like to be out and about with the community more than I am, which is none right now. And I can't wait until I get back and I'm able to travel with you. One of the pictures up there is of my kids and my dog, Riley. They are the most important thing to me and what I spend any time that I'm not working with them. We love to be out on the water, and that's something that we've been trying to do the last couple of weeks. So we've had some sunshine in Portland, Oregon, which has been great. I did say that I love traveling and going to community events. And so the other picture there on the right is a picture of my daughter and I when we were in Paris for the Modern Workplace Conference in December. And that was such a wonderful experience to share my love of technology with her and be able to share a little bit about what I do. So I am very passionate about women in technology as well. And that's something that I strive to improve as community manager also. So please stay in touch. For those of you who I have not met, thank you so much for coming, and thank you all for being here today. I don't have a large agenda. I really hope that today what I share with you as some of my favorite tips and tricks will be things that you think about, even if you knew already, just kind of seeing how I use things and what I do on a regular basis. Hopefully you can take a little nugget away and something that might help you. And not just today, but also when you go back to work and you aren't in a virtual environment day in and day out. What are those things that can help you just using Teams as a collaboration tool as well? Before we get that, I want to talk a little bit about what happened. The last few months has been quite a blur, I think, for all of us. And it's been challenging, I think, for many of us who haven't worked from home. And I can tell that, you know, people are working more. We have back-to-back meetings. It's a lot. And so it's a lot different than it was before, with only 25% studies say last year in the United States worked from home at least part of the time. So not all of the time, but maybe a day out of the week or half days here and there. But 25% of workers in the United States we're working part-time. And that is a significant change from what we see now, right? With only 25%, that's, you know, not only people doing online meetings. Some of us are taking that day at home to just focus on things and maybe work on a project. And so we didn't really see much impact there from a virtual meeting standpoint. But look at what happened. Like a wrecking ball, 2020 came in and COVID-19 is here, and any delay in digital transformation or time we thought that we had to plan went away completely. With Microsoft Teams, we have seen an increase to 75 million daily active users. We have seen over 600% growth, which is huge. And then with meetings, we've had over 20 times the meeting minutes this quarter than last, which is a significant increase when you really stop and think about it, because we aren't all doing 20 times the meetings, but we're definitely seeing an increase because every meeting now is going virtual, as opposed to only some of our meetings that we had going virtual before. We may have had a virtual attendee, or we may have worked with a customer or partner that was virtual doing meetings, but now everything is virtual. And so Microsoft Teams has worked really, really hard to increase capacity, to make features available that we know our customers need now due to this change in work environment. And it has really been a challenge in balancing quality with security and innovation, and being able to have the capacity that we know that we need to support all of the people going to a virtual work environment has been huge. So big effort on our part, and we know that we continually need to work to make that good for all of you. So with that, I want to introduce you to the Quality and Customer Obsession team. This is part of my team, not all of it, about half of the members of our team. The job of the Quality and Customer Obsession team is really to make sure that we're delivering a quality product, and that we are prioritizing features correctly, that we're listening to all of our channels, all of the listening signals that we have, to prioritize the features that you all want. So we saw quite a change based on what's happened with COVID-19 and what was happening pre-COVID-19. So we've really tried to be agile in changing direction in certain cases and making sure that we're delivering what you want, so that you're getting and using a product that works for you with the current climate. This picture was actually a screenshot that I took at our 7:30 a.m. check-in. We actually have a call that we do every morning. It is not mandatory, but it is a time where we can all get together and check in on each other, ask questions that we might have, hot items, any questions or roadblocks that we have from leadership. It's really an opportunity for us to just get all together in one spot, see each other's faces, and make sure that we're checking in with one another. So that's something that we started doing a couple of months ago, and it's been really, really useful for all of us. So taking a step back, for some of you who may not be as familiar with Microsoft Teams, or maybe using Microsoft Teams for the first time now, I want to share a little bit about what the product is. So Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork. I like to say it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's not just a collaboration tool. It's not just a video conferencing tool. It's not just an IM tool. It's really an all one-stop shop. It's a Swiss Army knife with all of those pieces that work together to improve collaboration. So we have the ability to chat with one another and have those chats be something that we can chat one-on-one, we can have group chats, but they're all persistent. We can go back to them, look things up, we can search them, and it makes it really easy to communicate one-on-one or in groups. And then we have meetings where we can have video calls, we can have our team meetings, we can have meetings with a project team and take notes, and we can have bigger live events and be able to present one-to-many. So there's very different, lots of different opportunities to have different kinds of meetings as well. And then calls, being able to have chat and threaded conversations with meetings and video conferencing, but then also PSTN calling, so be able to have a phone number where people can call you. You have no longer are tied to a desk phone. Now you can have people call you, and you can answer that on your cell phone. You can answer that on your computer, and that is your phone number for work. You can also call out to other people with Teams, or to other people who have a PSTN line. So it's a full calling feature as well. The ability to share files and collaborate on those files and do real-time editing and be able to share files and link out to files, but co-authoring is probably my favorite feature of the files, and knowing that if I post a file somewhere, anybody can edit it at any time, and we can be co-authoring on that, and making one copy rather than emailing several copies of a single document around. And then finally, the apps and workflows. And really, Microsoft Teams is a platform that you can build on. And there's so much information out there. And hopefully you're attending some of the other sessions at this event as well, where people will be talking about all the different ways to create apps and workflows and bots and different tools that you can bring into Microsoft Teams that maybe you went to a different website or used a different tool for currently. Lots of opportunity there. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing why Microsoft Teams makes me happy. And the first reason is Teams is there when I need it and not when I don't. And for me, it's really very important that I have my notifications set up. Some people don't know that they can set up notifications and really customize how and when they're notified about things that they get in Teams. And I don't know about you, but if you've been using Teams for a while, it can be fairly overwhelming with so many conversations, different places. It's hard to tell what the most important is and important conversation is, and to prioritize what you're supposed to look at first. And so there are some custom notifications that you can set up, and I really urge you to look into that a little bit and decide what's important to you. So the first thing, decide if you want to see things in your feed, your activity feed, or in a pop-up that comes up, or in email. What's important to you? Are chats important to you? Are personal mentions important to you? Channel mentions? Is there a project that you want to know about immediately? So those types of things are things that you want to be sure that you look at. For me, I have the bulk of everything just show up in my feed because I don't want to be distracted while I'm trying to work, but that may work different for you. The second thing is being able to turn off notifications to mute a channel conversation that you don't need to track of, So there may be something that comes up where people are talking about a conversation and you really don't need to be a part of that ongoing conversation, so you can mute that. I would recommend doing that for things that you're not needing to keep track of on an ongoing basis. And then even the chat that app mentions, some people like to have those pop up to see, but if you're like me where you need to focus and not see those bright shiny objects, you may choose to see the app mentions or even the chat app mentions only in your feed, and see them pop in when you may have chat open, for instance. So completely up to you, but please know that those are available to you. The next thing is the custom status messages. So this is really useful because we aren't in an office environment right now, but it can be useful when you go back to work also, for people who may still be virtual, or even for people who are swinging by your desk or want to swing by your desk and see if they can ask you a question. The custom status message is similar to an out-of-office message that you use in your Outlook. And it gives you the ability to let people know where you're at. So in my case, it helps me communicate with my team if I need to walk the dog or help my kids with homework or something that, in this case, in this screenshot, leaving early for the weekend. I'm going to leave. I'm going out to the sun. I won't be available for the rest of the day. And it gives people a message when they go to chat me. So here's an example of Kaushal using that. And when Kaushal used it, he used it in a case where he gets a frequent asked question about how do I participate in the TAP program. And so he's letting people know before they chat with him what that message is. So you have the ability, you can see in my screenshot of when I wrote my message, there's a checkbox that you can check to have that display in the chat box when people open up something to message you. So you can definitely do that for kind of that ongoing message that you want people to see. And then finally, if you've ever heard me talk before, you've heard me talk about the mobile client and how much I love it. The mobile client enables you to do everything that you can do on the desktop client, including taking a call or presenting, doing a presentation. You can really do quite a bit on the mobile client. And I love that because it's really important for me to be able to be going around and doing things even when I'm not stuck at home, but going and taking my kids to an appointment, or going and sitting in a doctor's office by myself, or there's always reasons why you're on mobile, but you're sitting someplace waiting for something, and being able to check in on that mobile client and respond to a quick IM, or keep track of an important project is really, really useful. And in fact, I use it sometimes here at home if I just want to get away from my desk and take a call outside, if it's appropriate to do that. So really useful to use the mobile client. I think if you don't already have it, I urge you to download it. I think it'll be useful for you as well. Teams saves me time. So let me show you a few of the things that make that happen for me. The first thing is activity feed. And what I do is every morning when I get up, I look at my activity feed. It's kind of like checking your inbox in your email. And the activity feed enables me to filter. So the top there, the screenshot, top left, you'll see the filter icon. The filter allows me to filter by things that people have tagged me on versus things that people have replied to, or conversations that I'm in, or things that people have liked or loved, as well as channel mentions. And so for me, I don't really need to see all of the things that people have liked, or I don't even need to see really the channel mentions unless it's something that I'm looking out for. But I do want to see the things that people have mentioned me for, because those are the things that people are looking for a response on. And so that's probably the first thing that I do, is I look at my one-on-one chats in my chat log, but I also look at my activity feed and I click on that filter button to see what are people looking at, what are they mentioning me for, because those things usually need a response right away. The next thing is the meeting report. So for meetings, it's very important for me to know who's in some of my meetings. Now, if it's a project meeting, or if it is a internal meeting that I'm having with a couple of people that I work with, that's not so important. But for instance, with the MVP program that I'm very involved with, I will have meetings with our MVPs, and I want to have a log of who was there so that I can communicate back to them and know who was there. Maybe we need to have a follow-up meeting, and I want to be sure that I follow up with everybody who was in that initial meeting. Or if I want to track participation with a particular program, I want to know who attended the different meetings that I'm having. So that's important to me. And that meeting report is the very first version. I call it V1. We all call it V1 of that meeting report. It's our first attempt at having a meeting report, something that we prioritized with the work that we're doing right now. And there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make that an even more robust meeting report. So please stay tuned for that. We know that that's very, very important for you. Right now, you have the name of the person, when they attended the meeting, and when they exited the meeting. And that is something that has to be turned on by your admin. That's not something that your tenant will automatically have, so be sure that that's turned on at the admin level. And then it is something that the organizer or presenter of the meeting needs to pull while they're in the meeting. So again, that's version 1. It's kind of our first attempt, but it is very useful for me. I'm already seeing an improvement in my own work, not having to manually pull those. And then tags, there are all different kinds of tags. Well, there's 3. So the first one is tagging a person. And the reason why that saves me time is because I know if I tag somebody in a conversation, they know that I'm asking them a pointed question and looking for a response. Sometimes it will be an FYI, but for the most part, when I'm tagging somebody, I'm asking them to do something, or I'm looping them into a conversation that is very important. So tagging somebody gets me a quicker response than as opposed to if they have to stumble across the conversation. And with the increase in the number of conversations we have, the number of channels that we have, and the number of teams that we have, this becomes more and more important. So as your team's activity grows and you're using it on a more frequent basis, as are the people and the teams that you're working with, you're going to want to tag people so that they get a notification either in their activity feed, or if they've chosen to get that in email or as a pop-up, but they get notified that you're looking for them. It's similar to when you put somebody on the to line of an email as opposed to a CC, or including them in a DL or a distribution list where they're just one of many people getting it as an FYI. You're asking for something specific. Now, when you tag a channel, be very, very careful, because when you tag a channel, everybody in that team who has access to the channel, which is everybody in the team, will get notified that they have a message for them. And that can kind of start to be a little numbing when people get a lot of channel mentions. They won't look at those as frequent as they would an individual tag for a person. So my preference is to tag the channel when it is an announcement or notification that I want to be sure everybody reads, but I use that very sparingly because that can cause a lot of clutter and a lot of noise to your team. If I really want them to be notified about something individually, I will mention them as an individual instead of mentioning the whole channel. Think about it. Some of your teams may have hundreds of people in it, and that's 100 people getting that channel tag. So it's similar to replying all or sending an email out to a distribution list with hundreds of people on it. But one cool thing that is fairly new is creating your own tags. And this can be really useful if you have project teams that are all working on the same thing, or individuals who have the same interests, or if you have customer work that you're doing with multiple people working with an individual customer. When you mention that tag that you've created, it will send a notification to all of those people. So instead of having to have the same 10 people mentioned each time, you now have this custom tag. It's your own tag that you've created where you can mention the tag, and then all of those people get that notification. So that's really useful in many different use cases as well. Search is a lifesaver for me. It really does save me time, not only searching for people or searching for topics, but searching for documents. So in the top search bar there, you can choose to search. You can put in a word or a name, whatever you like, and then have it search for a document or search for a person. And that's been really useful. If I need to find a slide deck, for instance, I remember the topic of the slide deck and I can put it in there, and it will search in all the teams that I'm in, all the files that I have access to help me find that slide deck that I'm looking for. So I definitely use that search bar on a regular basis. And then in that same area, you can see how to escalate to a chat, a call, a screen share, or both. And I use that quite often when I'm chatting one-on-one with somebody, and then I need to go into something a little bit deeper with them. I'm able to do that. And then finally, Teams helps me feel closer to the people I work with, and that's different ways. One being the fun channel. It's always good to have a channel where you can talk with people not about work, to have an area where people can just be themselves and show their personality, use emojis and share fun things that are happening to them when they went on vacation. Once we can go on vacation again, if somebody had a baby, or there's a congratulations in order, a fun channel is a great place to have that conversation that is not work related. So it doesn't clutter up the other channels, but offers a space for people to do that. The next thing is the Icebreaker app, and this is something that we've started to use just internally with our team. Even though we all know one another, we only have 20 some odd people in our team, we're starting to use the Icebreaker app right now while we're all at home as a way to check in with one another. So for instance, this week I got paired with Alex Wilson, and so Alex and I are meeting on Friday to talk about what's going on with each other, to make sure that everybody's okay, and just to have a 15-20 minute conversation to check in with one another. So that's a really cool way that Icebreaker app can be used. But there's lots of other apps and bots too. And like I said earlier in the presentation, I urge you to look and see how some of those might work for your organization. The other thing is the people channel. And I use the Meet the Teams team, or Meet the MVPs, as a channel in my MVP team where I have introductions of people. And this puts a name with a face and adds a little bit more information about them personally, introducing them to other people they may not know. So that's another fun way, again, to keep it outside of where we're doing work, but have an opportunity to make connections and introduce people without having them have to get together. And then I shared a little bit about our daily huddle, our check-in meeting that we have every morning at 7:30 a.m. It's really been a good opportunity for us to connect on a regular basis. But one of the things that we also do is an ongoing meeting. We have it in a community zone. So we have what we call community zone as a channel, and we have an ongoing meeting that happens every single day. And at any given time, you can pop in and talk to the people that you work with. And sometimes people will just sit there, put themselves on mute and work on the background and wait for people to join. And sometimes it's nice if you have a break between meetings or quick question, or you just want to run something by somebody else. It's a great way to connect with people throughout the day also. And this can be used too when you have people from all around the world who are in different time zones. Sometimes if I'm working late, I'll pop in there because we do have people in Europe and people in different time zones where we can connect with them too. So the ongoing meeting is a nice way to connect as well. So as we wrap up here, I want you to know that the Microsoft Teams team is listening. We definitely know we cannot produce a product in a vacuum, that it takes listening to all of you in the community to be able to build a product that works and works well. So we're committed to delivering a high quality and secure product for all of you. It's, like I said earlier, it's not always easy to balance the speed, quality, security, and innovation, but we definitely know that we're able to do it, but we're also looking for ways to improve. So appreciate your feedback, and anything that you want to share with us will continually help us do better. So thank you so much for being part of the community and sharing your thoughts with us. A few of the things that we're doing to improve our commitment to community, and again, if you have additional ideas, feel free to share. But the first thing is we've seen quite an increase in the Microsoft Tech community space. So the link is there. We urge you to go in, ask questions, answer questions, and we would love your participation there, either as somebody who can help answer questions of the community, but also if you have your own questions, feel free to go there. This is not a support forum. This is really a place to share best practices and ask questions about the product. And we do have another forum called Answers, which is a support forum if you have those. But we have applied additional resources to the Microsoft Tech community because we have seen such an increase in activity there. So please know that though we, over the past few months, have been slower to respond with this increase in activity, we definitely have additional resources that we're applying starting last month. And so look for improvement there, but please be part of that community. We've got some great people in there answering questions, and would love to have you as one of them. Additionally, we have some additional support coming for user groups and community events. We are going to be announcing very soon, and I will share it with all of you first. But we would love to offer the ability for our user groups and community events to host their meetings on Microsoft Teams. And so we will be offering the ability to do that here very shortly. So look for news on that very soon. We'll be sharing that in the Microsoft Tech community for those of you who have your own user groups or community events that you plan on your own. New that was just started this month is the Microsoft community blog, and I am so excited to offer a space for our community to be able to share their knowledge with the rest of the Microsoft Tech community. So check that out. The link is there. This is for anybody who has something to share around the topic of Microsoft Teams. If you yourself would like to be a community blogger, let us know. We would love to have you. So some ways there that we're interacting with the community that is new, and hope you'll be part of it. Some additional resources here. The community link is there. User voice. This is where we take our product feedback. Please share your product feedback there and let us know things that you're looking for, what is and is not working for you. We do listen to it. We have machine learning in place to make sure that everything gets triaged, and we personally look at those issues. We've seen quite a spike in some of the issues lately due to what's going on, and we're addressing those just as fast as we can. So thank you for being a part of that. If you're looking for training or documentation, links are there to be able to do that. We have live training, recorded training, documentation of how-tos. But also, I think you'll find very, very useful is the What's New, where you can find all the latest release features. So if you're looking for what's coming, look at the roadmap. If you want to look at what just was released, you can look at that by date at the What's New link there. And then, of course, if you are looking to roll out Teams for the first time, the Teams Toolkit is a really great place. It's kind of a one-stop shop with all kinds of great links in it. And that's on adoption and rollout, training, how to set up a champions program, and some good resources to get you going there for the first time as well. And then the community events. If you're looking for user groups or community events like this event, please go and check out that community events link to see what's going on a regular basis in your area. So with that, gosh, I feel like I breezed through that very, very quickly. So I'm sorry that that was so quick, but gosh, I really thank you for being part of today's presentation. I am here for questions, so please use the question pane to ask me whatever is on your mind. If you have tips and tricks you want to know about, if you are looking for documentation on something that you haven't seen, I would love to hear about that. Different ways that you want to interact with the community or with the Microsoft Teams product group. We'll love to know that, but ask away. I am here. A big, big thank you to the team behind Galactic Collaboration Summit for having me today. And thank you, all of you, for being here today as well. We do appreciate you so much being part of the community. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for being a part of the Galactic Collaboration Summit. Join the community and meet in-person world-class Microsoft and MVP speakers this autumn in Wiesbaden, Frankfurt, Germany, with 15 full-day tutorials and over 150 Microsoft 365 and Azure sessions at the combined European Collaboration Summit and European Cloud Summit from 26 to 28 October 2020. Community rocks.